Hello and welcome and happy International Women in Engineering Day today. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Sylvia Keane and I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager here in the Confirm Centre for Smart Manufacturing. Here in Confirm, we recognise and celebrate women in engineering, and we want to organise a dedicated webinar on this topic for International Women in Engineering Day today. This virtual activity fits perfectly with this year's campaign's theme, Shape the World. Just to give you a brief overview of who we are, Confirm is a Science Foundation Ireland research centre for smart manufacturing located at the University of Limerick's Digital District. We have an extensive researcher network that spans 9 research partner institutes. To date, Confirm has secured over 45 million in funding and we have over 100 industry partners engaged. We believe in creating a community of practice where industry, our researchers and the general public can learn about smart manufacturing and Industry 4.0. On today's panel, we will feature 4 women, which are some of Confirm's academics, researchers and industry partners to find out what inspired them to go into engineering. We will also be hearing from 3 of my colleagues from the Confirm Centre. As you can see on the right-hand side, questions can be entered into the chat box throughout the webinar, and with time permitting, we will pose these questions to the panel at the end. But due to the 1-hour constraint of today's webinar, and I know we're a couple of minutes behind already, if there is no time to answer these questions, we will be posing these questions offline to the panel, and we will be posting them on our Confirm blog. So without further ado, I'd like you now to hand you over to Susan Daly. Susan is our Marie Curie Programme Manager.
So good afternoon to you all, and many thanks to Sylvia for that lovely introduction. So I'm delighted to be here to moderate today's panel discussion and to acknowledge and to collectively celebrate women's contributions and achievements in STEM and to inspire those future STEM leaders. So over the past few years, we've seen huge advancements in robotics, AI, IoT, blockchain, and so on. These tech transformations are driving digital workforce transformation. Interestingly, while the world is changing rapidly, advancements in female representation while having progressed, it has so, albeit at a slow pace. So events such as today, they offer the opportunity to women and men all over the globe to help raise the profile of women and encourage more people to consider STEM disciplines as a profession. And critically, it serves to ask questions of ourselves. For example, how are we working to change and challenge the perceptions of those working in STEM disciplines? And what do you think should be done to encourage more girls to choose STEM as a career choice? Now, before we get into our discussion, I'd first like to introduce our 4 speakers today, each of whom play a key role in Confirm Centre's community of practice, and they are our research and industrial partners. So we have Donna O'Shea from Cork Institute of Technology, Gráinne Murphy from Analog Devices, Joan Hyland from Mergon Group, and Beijing Genk of University College Cork. So ladies, if I could ask you please just to introduce yourselves briefly. So Donna, we'll start with you first, please.
Hi Susan, thanks very much for the introduction. My name is Donna O'Shea. I'm a PI in the Confirm Research Centre, and I'm also head of Department of Computer Science in Cork Institute of Technology. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Gráinne Murphy. I'm with Analog Devices. I started my engineering degree in NAHE in Dublin, so that's a number of years ago, and I finished it in University of Limerick. And throughout my career, I've worked across a number of multinationals, including Analog now, and I'm looking forward to sharing that journey with you today.
Hello everyone, I'm Joan Hyland. I have a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Limerick. I started as a graduate production engineer. I'm now the Director of Innovation and Excellence for Mergon Group. Mergon design, develop and manufacture innovative fast components in the automotive, industrial and healthcare sectors. I believe in lifelong learning and I've done a number of courses.
So I don't think we have Begum at this point, but hopefully she joins later on the session and we'll give her an opportunity of course to introduce herself. So let's kick off with our first question. So recent figures reveal that female representation in the manufacturing sector is roughly about 1/5. Say, for example, in physics as a discipline, it is reported as low as 7% in third level. As a physicist myself, Marie's development and Curie actions, they were an endless inspiration for me. And it's ironic now that I manage a program in her name. Being a role model and showing what is possible is absolutely vital. However, a recent survey has shown that one of the biggest challenges faced by women is having no STEM female role models. That's about 42%. So my first question to our speakers, and Donna, I'll start with you, please. Why STEM, and who inspired you in your career?
Thanks very much, Susan. I think probably a bit like everybody here, I think my parents had a huge influence. My father, he left school when he was 12 years of age, but he was very ambitious and progressive and entrepreneurial. And he started a family business called Griffin Electrical in his garage, where he would sell angle grinders and televisions. And then my mother's role would be, after the successful purchase, they'd go into the kitchen and have apple tart with her. So growing up, I was always exposed to technology. I spent a summer fixing Walkmans and would always be the one in the family to send out to deal with customer configuration and installation problems. And I think this really kind of spawned my love for networking, communication technologies. I think you are right, Susan. There are a lack of female role models in STEM. I think this is especially true when I was an undergraduate student. I have worked all my life in a very male-dominated industry, and I have been extremely lucky to build up a network of female and male colleagues that have picked me up, I suppose, really when I needed it the most. You know, a simple pat on the shoulder or basically a whole shoulder to cry on. I think, you know, in the absence of female role models, it has been critical in my own career that I had to build up a strong female network. And I think I've needed this when, you know, the kids have been small, when you have childminder issues and when you have to get up at 6 a.m. to prepare for a lecture that you have 0 slides for. I think you need women to discuss these types of issues. You know, the women always inherently want to say, when you start questioning yourself as a role of as a wife or a mother, a woman in engineering, and sometimes simple gestures made all the difference. I've also been very lucky with my male colleagues who have encouraged, supported, and mentored, and also inspired me. They have shown me through example how to be a good researcher, an academic, and a leader. And without them really pushing me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So that's really who's inspired me.
Fantastic, Donna. Grania, from your perspective, what inspired you to STEM, and who inspired you in your career?
Yeah, I was thinking about this question, and really the people that inspired me were the people that didn't hold me back. So my parents, we didn't have any real influence in engineering. My grandfather was an engineer.
I think we might have lost Grania there. If we want to move on to Dawn for a sec, we can go back in a minute.
So, Joan, we might pose the same question to you then. Why STEM and who's inspired you in your career?
Well, when I was growing up as a kid, I was always extremely interested in how things worked. I wanted to kind of understand everything that I could see and fully understand how it was operating. I loved really large machinery. I grew up on a farm. I was really impressed by hydraulics and the power behind engines and machines. So I think I always felt that I was interested in understanding this more, and that's kind of what brought me into studying science and going into STEM. I had a very creative imagination as well. I was always inventing things in my head, and I was always trying to make things, or maybe break things if you ask my mother, but I was always at different things outside and trying to see what I could create. I was very organised and structured as well as a child. and I was very systematic in the way I went about things. And I think that's the kind of attributes that I felt would be good to have to go into a career in STEM. And I was also thinking of the question of who are my role models. Really, in my house growing up, my mother used to always say, if you think you can, you can, and if you think you can't, you can't. So I think the mindset of, you know, going at something, looking for a solution, staying with it. Both my parents were very hardworking. I think I got that in me as well, to work hard at things. But there was always this feeling that if you kept working on, you know, a solution, that really the world was your oyster and you could create whatever you wanted. And I felt, you know, going into STEM, that I was moving into a world where I got to create things, to make things that helped people. So rather than having specific role models, definitely in my house, I think the message was always, you know, that there's no difference in you to other people. You just need to do your thing and find what you like, but work hard at it. And success to me then was a lot of the people I saw who had really interesting jobs and still had good lives. Also, I was very fanatical about cars. I wanted a Mercedes, so there was a few things that I had decided when I was young was success. But really having an interesting job was part of that. I grew up with 4 sisters, and I never really saw that there was any difference. Being a girl, I just always thought that I had to just work at whatever I was interested in and keep working in that direction, and that I'd always get to where I wanted to go with it.
That's wonderful, Joan. It's great to hear that your creative side of you has been able to excel within STEM. It's fantastic to hear that possibility, because people think that STEM is very one track. You know, it is science, it is engineering, but it opens up such a wealth of possibilities. So many thanks for your input. So I see that, I know we had some difficulties there. I see that Grania has joined the call again. We might give you the floor again for that same question.
Yeah, sorry about that. Technology has. Yes, I suppose that what I was saying was that all throughout my career, I've had different people that have influenced me, people that have sort of seen an opportunity in me and graciously given their time, both male, female. But it is great to have a cohort of a female sort of circle that you can, I suppose, be more yourself on an ongoing basis. So there's lots of people have inspired me.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. What a wonderful place to start from. That actually takes me in very nicely into the next question for the panel. So in STEM, a vast majority will agree that one of the most critical elements required to be successful is the desire to learn, that coupled with confidence, drive, and ambition. So what key elements have been most critical for your success? And Grania, if we could start again with yourself for that question. What has been most successful for your success? What's the most critical elements?
I was really lucky in my career that I had a senior leader within Analog that actually kind of took me under his wing and he was gracious enough to give me a lot of time. And sadly, he passed away. But before he passed, he sent me a text that said that he always had a soft spot for those who are resilient enough not to wallow in self-pity, but are willing to do something about it. And I'd say that kind of summed me up, that when things went wrong, I actually sort of had the ability to pick myself off the ground and work away around them. So that resonates with me, and I think that's something that everyone needs to have in their career. They need to have the ability to sort of take the knock, get over it, and then work through it and continue on, because your career is only, you know, each section of your career is only a few minutes, and it's what you do with the time that you have after that minute is what's critical.
Fantastic, great advice, absolutely great advice. That covers an awful lot of things. Thank you, Grania. So Joan, for yourself, again, the same question. What have been most critical to your success?
Well, there was a number of things. I guess the first really was I did my mechanical engineering degree in UL, And part of doing a degree in UL involved doing a work experience, so it was called co-op at the time, which was 9 months built into the course. And I completed that 9 months and also went back to the company that I was on co-op with for the summers after that. So I came out of college with a very good degree, and then also with over a year's work experience built into that. And I think that made me a lot more attractive then when I went out to look for a job. And it gave me more confidence then of what kind of roles I was looking for. So that was very important, and that was very helpful. And the degree itself was very good for, you know, teaching you to deal with problems, working through them systematically. You wouldn't have all the answers when you go at something, but you had to just know how to get through it and work through it until you solved it. And the degree covered lots of areas, so I got to kind of test different things, and there was a lot of lab work and trialing things. So it was a great mix of learning, say, from the books, but then also going and testing things in labs that were there. Also, I've always felt that it's important to sharpen the saw to stay ahead of the curve. So I think it's very important to kind of continuously learn new things. I don't see my career as just one thing that I picked once. It's something that's continuously evolving, and I'm building, even if it's 20 years maybe since I was in school. I still see it's important to have your direction for where you're going, and I've done a lot of courses along the way to kind of enhance what I had learned from my initial degree, so that I could, you know, be successful. And then I would say as well, the company I work for, Mergon Group, it's a very progressive, future-thinking company, always looking to grow, and they're very committed to developing employees. So when I started in Mergon, we operated in a lot of different markets. So I found it very interesting because no day was the same. There was always new things going on, new challenges, and it was a company that you could see if you worked, you know, there was opportunities there to move around into the different departments. I even had the opportunities to go to our plants in America and the Czech Republic, which was all very exciting. And, you know, that helped me get a lot of experience and learn a lot about the business from start to finish. And the team in Mergon as well, there's a lot of colleagues here who have always been very supportive in, you know, answering any questions you have, and, you know, helping you with anything you need help with. So there was always good, I always felt comfortable. Just if I needed to know about something, I can always find someone here that can answer. So I think it's a combination of all those things that have helped me to build my career, and hopefully continue to do so for the future.
Fantastic, Joan. I mean, it's very, very good advice. I mean, your career is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Indeed, all with our careers, we need to progress. That's great advice. So, Donna, what key elements have been critical to your success?
Yeah, I think the biggest critical factor and to my success has been really my own area of expertise and the depth of my knowledge. I think the expertise that I've gained over nearly the 18 years since I've graduated from my BSc has given me the confidence to believe that I'm equally as good as my male colleagues. I just want to talk a small bit about confidence. I definitely went on a journey in relation to confidence. Having kids, taking time out and maternity leave, coming back and trying to fit in impacts on your confidence. I just want to highlight a recent report by PwC where it demonstrated that 42% of women felt nervous about the impact that children might have in their careers, and 48% said they were overlooked for career advancement because they had children, and 37% did not take full maternity leave because of career pressure. And I think employers need to understand this a small bit more, and women also need to accept that confidence is a journey, and like all journeys, there are going to be twists along the road. I think another critical factor in my success really is the way that I deal with people. I grew up in a shop, and I had to deal with the public at a very young age, and understand how to deal with a farmer from West Cork in the same way as you would deal with someone from the city, with equal measure of success. And I think these skills can't really be measured and are generally undervalued, but they are critical to the role that I perform today when I'm dealing with people. And when I'm dealing with people at a department and as an academic, I'm dealing with students, dealing with staff, I'm dealing with industry stakeholders, I'm dealing with government agencies, and I'm also dealing with professors. And I think the skills I learned early on in life gave me the ability to relate to these broad range of people in a very, I suppose, a very easy way. So I think that really has been one of the critical factors in my success.
Fantastic, and I mean it's a lot of emphasis can be placed on IQ, but EQ has equal importance. How you deal with people, how you deal with situations, and,
yeah.
And certainly we all deal with many different types of people, and it's important to be able to have that skill set in your arsenal. Many thanks, Donna. So let's move on to my next question. So the everyday challenges are those that keep us on our toes and they enable us to grow, and certainly these days are very, very challenging from the perspective of remote working, trying to be effective in our roles. So the next question will be, what obstacles and opportunities have you encountered generally throughout your current career? Joan, if I can come back to yourself on that question first.
You're on mute, Joan, I think.
Sorry, can you hear me there?
Yes, you can.
So I was just saying, when I was trying to, pick a course or decide what my steps were when I left school, that was kind of an area where it was a bit difficult, because I think career guidance at the time wasn't great. If you thought about the area of medicine or something, you just thought doctor and nurse, and there was very, very broad terms for whole areas, and I wasn't really aware of what was out there, and there was no Google at the time, so it was a bit more difficult to pick exactly what I wanted to do. But obviously I worked through it, and I selected my course. But when I got into college then, I felt a little bit like I was on the back foot, because I was surrounded by people who had done a lot of more technical subjects in school, and I didn't have the opportunities to do those. They weren't available at the time in my school. So there was a lot of tech drawing of woodwork and metalwork initially in my course, and I felt a little bit behind everybody else, and I was a bit worried about that. But I just at the time had to, work harder to kind of get through it and catch up with everybody else, I guess. And throughout your career, you'll always really come across obstacles like that, and it's just really a matter of kind of holding your own confidence, believing that you can do something. You have to just focus on where you're trying to get to, and then look around you and see what can help you get there. So you will always come up against different obstacles, but you just have to kind of work either to get around them or jump over them. And I think, that's just the way it is with life, and there'll be ups and downs. But just remember, if you keep trying to do what you're doing and just persevere, then you'll kind of work through everything.
Absolutely. I mean, resilience is absolutely in all walks of life, particularly, with pressure situations, like when you're working with an MNC or you're working in high caliber research. Certainly, your personal resilience. Many thanks, Joe. So, Grania, can I pass the question on to yourself? So, throughout your career, what obstacles and opportunities have you encountered?
Well, I suppose the biggest obstacle I would say that I probably have is myself. So that's, I suppose getting over the fact that it can be done and I can do it. There's always a moment. So the way that I work is I work in marketing. I'm responsible for revenue. I'm responsible for new product introduction. I'm responsible for reporting to the senior leadership team about how the business is growing. And there are moments when I'm saying I can't do this, really. There's a huge amount of responsibility. But so in that view, the obstacle is myself, and understanding that I wouldn't be there if I couldn't do it, and I wouldn't have, I suppose, the experience that I have over the years and the different areas that I've worked in has all built up to make me the right person in my job at the right time. Of course, I have encountered personal people obstacles through my career, and some of those you need to forget about. You just need to find a different route, because you're not going to win on every front. I've gone for jobs that I haven't got. You know, that's all part. Failure is part of success. We don't all have the sort of the gold medal at every stage of our career. So it's actually learning from that. I certainly haven't had any obstacles from a learning perspective. I would say Analog, Dell have been absolutely fantastic in the sort of the additional learning, you know, support that has been given. So really, you know, as long as you understand there's an obstacle there and you work your way through it, or if you can't go through it, then you just pick another route, then an obstacle is an opportunity, really.
Absolutely, and it's fair to say that to succeed, you have to learn to fail and to pick yourself back up. So that's great advice. Thank you, Grania. So Donna, if I could pass the question on to yourself.
Yeah, thanks very much, Susan. Yeah, I think like Joan, I think I was probably confused as well about career decisions. I think that this was a conflict about what society wanted from me and going to an all-girls secondary school versus what I actually wanted to do myself. This resulted in me taking a detour in terms of my you know, degree in software development and computer networking, and I actually spent a year in Cork University Hospital training to be a nurse, which was also a great experience. But at the end of the year, I ran off the ward and was very happy to spend the rest of my life in ICT. I guess really after I finished my PhD, I think another obstacle is just the environment that we work in. I worked in IBM for 5 years, and this is a place where I learned so many different things. I learned about teamwork, I learned about professionalism, I learned about the importance of quality, version control, documentation, effective communication, and of course, technical knowledge in terms of distributed systems and networking communications. I think one of the biggest obstacles I face and still face as part of this time is in industry is that this did have an impact in terms of my publication and resulting H-index, which is obviously critically important in academia. And in the academic environment that I work in, these metrics are metrics that count. And I guess I really want to challenge research centres and funding bodies to look beyond these narrow metrics, because impact is so much broader than that. I honestly don't think there are any obstacles for women to work in engineering. I honestly, genuinely believe it is a fantastic environment to work in. I have never felt biased because I'm a woman. I've always felt encouraged and supported. It's well paid. I have been employed during dot-com crashes and economic turmoils, and science and engineering has genuinely given me the opportunity to be independent and self-sufficient. And this has given me the stability and I suppose the confidence to operate in my everyday life, and I really value this. So that's really what I wanted to say there. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. So it's fair to say that there is a wealth of evidence that suggests that more diverse teams bring wider experience, different ways of working, different approaches to problem solving. So I suppose my next question would be, can the panel please tell me, tell me about your achievements and influence with and without authority, say, within your network. And if I could start with Joan, please.
I think I started out as a production engineer, and now I'm the Director of Innovation and Excellence for Morgan Group, which is one of my main achievements that I'm very proud of. I get to work with plants all across the world, from China to South Carolina to the Czech Republic, and work with a lot of different teams. The role itself is very exciting, it's very diverse. I get to see the business grow and be part of that growth. So I really feel that, you know, I'm in a place that I can really make a difference, and see the difference that I make. Also, I think my education, I've worked through a number of different courses from doing my engineering degree, and I studied coaching and creativity and numerous different courses, which are all important to help me build up my career, and I am proud of all the work I've put into those as well. I sit on the National Standards Authority of Ireland committee, which is responsible for the development of the Innovation Management Standard. So I'm very happy that, you know, I can sit on that committee and, you know, my voice is heard and I'm there to kind of represent industry and give my opinion, and that others are there, you know, waiting to hear what that is and listen to it, and that will influence how that document is written and how other companies will, you know, implement that system into what they do. So I think it's great that I, you know, have the opportunity to do that and have enough knowledge and experience, you know, built up over the years, you know, to really impact on that. And then I think I probably am well known at this stage around a number of different places such as Conform or AIT, and been asked even to speak on this event today. You know, I'm delighted to take part in it and hopefully encourage other females into engineering. So it's great that, you know, I can have my voice heard and hopefully inspire some other people out there to know that, you know, start into something and keep working on it and just keep your confidence, and then, you know, you can get to wherever you want to.
Thank you, Joan. It's wonderful to hear your own experience where you work in work in terms of safe product development, but you also inspire others, and then you also inform through your work with your NSI. So it's a very much a well-rounded path, and it's fantastic for you to hear that experience from you. So if I could pose the same question to Grania, please.
Yeah, so I've worked across a number of different groups. I've worked in applications. I supported video products. So we were one of the first video DAC products that actually created some very high definition, I suppose, colors through the resolution of the parts. So anyone that's familiar with Toy Story, you know, that actually wouldn't have been as good as it was without the technology behind it to produce the palette of colors, and that all came from technology that came through ADI. I like to work on stuff that actually makes a difference. So the area that I'm working now is in intelligent buildings. So we're working on technology that's keeping people safe within buildings, and also monitoring environmental conditions. So things like smoke detection, things like gas detection, things like technology that monitors how many people are safely within areas. So that's very relevant today. And also then, you know, just that's from a technical side. So I'm an engineer, but I moved into marketing. So I did an MBA and moved into a marketing role, which was kind of always, I suppose, I guess, an area that interests me, that sort of the telling the story. So selling the dream is what I call it. You know, from a personal achievement, I'm really proud that I was one of the leaders of the Europe chapter of the Women's Leadership Network in Analog. Like, I've learned so much from the group of people, both women and men, that are involved in the WLN, and the learning and the conversations and the support that has been set up over the last, I suppose we started it about 3 or 4 years ago. So that's a proud achievement. So it's not just, you know, things are not just academic in your achievements, they're also personal. And then, you know, the other piece to say is that I took some years out. So I took 6 years out. So I'm really proud of the fact that I did that. So I had a young family at the time. I was in marketing. I was doing an awful lot of travel. I wasn't doing anything well. So I wasn't doing the family side well, and I wasn't doing the work side well, in my view. So I took 6 years out. And when, I suppose, my youngest child went into primary school, I had an opportunity to come back in again. And that was terrific. The fact that I could actually take up my career again. It took a bit longer to restart, if I'm being honest. I certainly didn't start my career back where I had ended it. But to know that there are other stages in your life where you can actually sort of, you don't have this view of, I'm going to start working at the age of 20 and I'm going to finish whenever, and it's all going to be perfect in between. The fact that you can actually do various things as part of that that journey. I'm really proud. My best career moment was actually taking 6 years out.
Fantastic, Ronnie, it's such a brave move. It's just fraught with so much uncertainty as well, and it's, you know, it shouldn't be a risk, because every woman feels that their career will be impacted, but it was something personal for you. It's fantastic to see that you have such a success as a personal journey. So many thanks for that, Grania. So Donna, if I could round off this question with your insights, please.
Thanks, Susan. I guess one of my achievements is the fact that I am co-principal investigator in the Confirm Research Centre, where I see my contributing adding to the research agenda and operational technology, smart manufacturing, cybersecurity. I am the first ever female head of computer science in the Cork region. I'm the only female member of senior staff in the Faculty of Engineering and Science in CIT. I'm very proud of the fact that I have contributed to the development of the Southwest region by developing synergies with other academic institutions, with government agencies and with industries, making Cork a go-to location in terms of FDI investment. I am passionate and active about supporting initiatives that encourage women to participate in science and engineering, because I honestly believe we need more women's voices to be heard and creating pathways for them to get involved in shaping solutions and technology that underpin our technology and will influence our society for decades to come. We need more women adding diversity of thought to these types of processes. The reality is we are losing a huge number of talented women to careers in tech. A recent Oxford report detailed how women comprise currently about 20% of engineering graduates, and 40% of them never pursue a career in that field. And 56% of females leave these tech roles after 10 years, and women are more than twice as likely to drop out of the field altogether. And this attrition rate is not because women are having children. This attrition rate is actually unique to computer science and engineering. And the women actually say the reason they're leaving this career is because there's a lack of senior and technical leadership roles, career stagnation, and a lack of female mentors. I am very proud of the fact that that I've worked with industry in trying to address this issue head on through real initiatives, and I've worked with McKesson in developing both undergraduate scholarships for females and also the first ever female PhD scholarship that we ran last year. I don't want just to talk about this issue. I want to develop action around it that can develop real impact. In addition to this, I'm very proud of the fact that I'm a group lead in cybersecurity. I co-led the establishment of a national initiative called Cyber Ireland, which is sponsored by the IDA to make sure that Ireland is well positioned both to service the existing activities in the area of cybersecurity and also to grow this really, really important area. As part of this, I am, I suppose, dedicated and very committed to making Ireland a cybersecurity centre of excellence and acting as a role model for women along the way. And my message is that cybersecurity is a career for women and men, and we need more diversity in cybersecurity and in engineering in general. I think that diversity is key, not just in cybersecurity, but also in terms of bottom line. Teams where men and women are equal in numbers have been proven to earn 40% more revenue, and companies with more culturally and ethically diverse teams, executive teams, were also likely to see better than average profits. So it's not just because it's good or because we have better products, it's also because you get more profit. The biggest achievement that I think I've done over the past number of years as a professional is that I'm the first member of my family ever to attend college. I'm a working mother of 3 children, and I'm also married to a man that works in engineering, which brings its own set of challenges. So we're both equally as committed to our jobs as each other. So that's really my biggest achievement.
Thank you, Donna. Fantastic insights there. So just to kind of round off just before our last primary question. So studying physics, maths, they're important for hundreds of different types of careers, from say predicting climate change to designing applications. And we need more young people, particularly girls, to partake in STEM subjects to keep their options open for a huge range of careers, maybe even perhaps with Confirm going forward. So engineers and scientists tackle some of the world's most pressing problems, and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic being no exception. So my final question to the panel is, what advice would you give to those interested in pursuing a STEM career? And Joan, if I could go back to you, please, on that one first.
A lot of people, say to me when I mention engineering or STEM, they say, "Oh, I could never do that. I'm not good at maths." And I find the same, if I mention creativity to people, because obviously that's a huge side of engineering is creativity. They say to me, "Oh, I can't draw." So I think that people have, certain assumptions that they believe about certain areas, and they only see it like that. And I think, you need to challenge that assumption and really go out there and find out, what careers are in STEM, what is engineering. It's not just one thing. It's a very exciting area where you can have hundreds of different types of roles. So make sure that you're not letting kind of some assumption or something that you've heard, drive a decision, and that might mean you don't enter, a really exciting world of engineering. And it's possible to do it now, to look at what other people have done. You can check people on LinkedIn and see, what has been their career path. There's lots of things you can Google to see what different kind of careers are. You can do visits to different, hospitals or universities or companies like Morgan here. We would have a lot of the schools come in to visit, just so people can really see, what it is we do. It's really exciting. The manufacturing environment, it's full of robotics and all sorts of technology for vision and sensors. And when, we see school people coming in and looking at that, they suddenly get this different view of what engineering is and how exciting it is. So I would say to people, really do your research and don't cut anything out. STEM is not just about maths. STEM needs creatives, it needs problem solvers, it needs organizers, it needs dreamers. It does need some mathematicians as well, but it really is, there's a broad spectrum there of skills that are needed. And there's lots of places then, when you get into it, you can decide to move to. I think that, thinking about something for too long, you won't really know what to do. So to try and experience things, start into something. I started with my mechanical engineering degree. Some people may not want to go down that route, but there's lots of other routes available now, from apprenticeships to, part-time courses with colleges. So there's lots of ways that you can kind of get to where you're going. You might just have to take a little bit of, a different direction in how you do it, but you can still get to where you want to get to, and take a more hands-on approach, if that's what suits you better. So just make sure that you're getting the full facts for yourself of, what STEM is, and, don't cut anything out because you think you know what it is. Go out there and find out about it and try things. And I think, engineering is really exciting and fun, and there's huge opportunities. And as Donna mentioned there, it's very employable, even in times, like we've had with our pandemic. There's still a need for engineers. Everything around you that you're using every day is created by people who have thought about it and have designed it and have then manufactured it. So, it's a very interesting world to be in. And I definitely think, your gender should never come into, your decision about what your career is. We need everybody with all the different types of skills. So don't be put off at something. Just, follow the things that you're interested in and create your own career and your own future.
Thank you, Joan. Great advice. Thank you. Grania.
Yeah, I'd like to follow on to what Joan said. Certainly the points that I would make is don't put yourself in a bucket, because there's lots of different routes you can take and look around. The other thing is that engineering is sometimes seen as being a very sort of mathematical, physical type of career. What we're actually doing is actually making a difference to humans. So at the end of it, there's an output that makes the world better. So actually aligning how you make that difference and what you're contributing to, I think is a really important kind of marketing message. about engineering that sometimes has been forgotten. And the other side of it is that it's great fun. You know, you're actually, no day is the same. So there's no fixed agenda to a day. There can be a problem that can come up. There can be teamwork. There can be a travel to a customer. There can be an issue that needs to be resolved. So it's always demanding, but it's most of the time great fun. So don't lose that sort of joy of what you're actually doing.
Thank you, Coronia. And Donna.
Thanks, Susan. Yeah, I think if I was giving people advice starting off, the first thing I would say to them is don't be afraid to ask questions. There is no such thing as a silly or stupid question in the story. So just ask a question and speak up. I definitely don't think anybody could accuse me of being a wallflower in my career. But if something is annoying me, then I normally address it head on. I think it's really important to build, and not just one mentor, but a whole network of mentors. And I have worked in an organisation where I haven't had good mentors, and I've also worked in organisations where I do. And I think the impact of having someone that, you know, believes in you and is willing to act as a mentor and to guide you and to criticise you and to support you has been absolutely instrumental in my career to date. And because I work in academia and in research, I think one of the biggest things I would say to anybody working in the field is you're going to have to develop resilience to rejection, because as a researcher, I've received a lot of rejection, and I get to the point now where I've actually hardened from it and kind of go, oh, well, you know, that was great, let's move on, or can I take something positive out of this? But that has taken me actually years to develop. But I'm glad to say that it's kind of water off a duck's back at this stage. So thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you to all the speakers. It's fantastic just to hear on your wealth of your experiences, and just some very clear themes have just come through. So just have a clear vision, just drive, ambition, be unafraid to challenge, and just to keep going, your own personal resilience. So it's fantastic just to hear some common themes, and then just some your personal experience as well is fantastic. So thank you so much. And just as you mentioned, Donna, there about just be unafraid of asking questions. Our audience have certainly been asking questions while we've been talking here. So because we're tight for time, I'm just going to pick one or two questions just at random, and just for the panel just to answer as you see fit. So as one of the first questions here was actually very topical given the current state of play globally. So it is from an anonymous audience member. So how do you feel that COVID-19 will impact the jobs market, especially for 2020 and 2021 grads?
Maybe I could take that question as initially, Susan. I think in the area of science and manufacturing, I think we've been extremely lucky to be resilient against an awful lot of the impacts of COVID-19. An awful lot of our graduates that went on placement during third year, you know, still maintained their placement all through the result of COVID-19. In terms of the learning outcomes, I think it was very difficult for them, but you know, they certainly were able to fulfil the learning outcomes of their placement and complete that. I think the jobs market in reality is going to be tougher this year. I do think that. I think that, you know, companies have a restricted space and are going to be looking at headcount in physical premises and may not have the ability to expand in the way that they had predicted. And I think that I think graduates also need to take this as an opportunity, because I've experienced similar crashes in my own career after the dot-com crash, where I graduated at the worst possible period in history as a software developer, and use it as an opportunity to upskill and still progress. So, you know, if you are a graduate, don't leave your skills go stale. There are loads of initiatives out there from the HEA, from Springboard, under the HCI Pillar 1. Leverage these mechanisms. They're free. They will provide you with opportunities. They will keep your skills fresh, and they will make you ready. I don't think the impact of the jobs market will be fully seen until, you know, probably 12 months' time. I think that probably in a lot of companies, their pipeline still is strong, and it will take, at least 6 months before the pipeline and the opportunities kind of dries out, and we'll see more impact going forward. But for all we know, COVID-19 could be gone, in September. Who knows? It's hard to predict. That's my own view on it.
It's very hard to predict. It's quite an evolving situation at the moment. But I suppose, let's say from an industrial perspective, Joan or Grania, what view would you have on the impacts of COVID-19 for new grads?
Yeah, I think it's actually created some opportunities. So we're creating technology that's helping to solve the big problems, and COVID is one of those. So it's actually the solutions are ever more relevant. So take robotics, the sort of the factory of the future. That's definitely much more relevant, and obviously Confirm is a big piece of that, and feeding into how that progresses at a faster rate. So we need to be prepared for what's going to happen next past COVID, and pivot and create technology that's going to implement fixes for the next issue. So there's global warming, there is the migration of people into cities, there are lots of big problems, and there's opportunity where there's problems.
Absolutely. I suppose the strength of any business is predicated on its ability and its agility to adapt to such situations. So we've seen such a wonderful from STEM researchers in the past couple of months, and funding awarded. Its primary focus is to tackle COVID-related research concerns. From yourself, Joan, what's your view on COVID?
I would agree with Grania in that I feel that COVID obviously is a very unusual situation for everyone, but it's more clear now that we have to develop a lot of products and technologies that will safeguard society. And within a few weeks here in Morgan, we had set up a production line to mass produce the ARIA face shield. So you could just see from that, how quickly a lot of everybody here knew that we just have to be agile and work out what we can do to help. And we also have a large project for a portable ventilator that will be used in a lot of ambulances across Europe. So there are opportunities that come from it. We just have to change the way we work slightly, but that's just like an obstacle from before, where you just have to see what it is, work out how you're going to deal with it. You have to turn it into an opportunity and keep moving. And I think that in a couple of months, there will be more equipment out there and products just to help safeguard everyone, which will be very important. And we will, recover in that way and keep moving.
Fantastic. So we actually have quite a good question here and some lovely topics from, say, mentoring and also, say, the impacts of your primary or second level teachers have had on your career. And as Sylvia alluded to at the top of the hour, that what we will do is we will compile an offline just an interview with each of you, just to be able to form a composite view of all of those questions from the audience as well, just so that they can get a well-rounded view. I'm sure that a lot of people that are watching this webinar right now will find great hints and tips of how to progress and succeed in their own careers. And I think this opportunity has been a great showcase to show that everyone can help, show that STEM is for everyone, and to inspire more women to pursue, return to, or retrain in STEM. So success in improving diversity is not a side issue, it is a critical business imperative, so whether your business is research or product development, and therefore it needs to be understood and championed at the most senior level and then promoted throughout organisations. So with Confirm, the Confirm Centre EPE programme, it's the primary vehicle through which we address gender inequality in STEM external to the centre. So I'd like to thank my speakers, and I'd like to introduce Sean, who's been in the background there. He's the Educational and Public Engagement Manager with Confirm, just to talk us through this in a little bit more detail. Sean.
Hi guys, I was stuck on mute there for a second. Thanks for the introduction, Susan. So my name's Sean.O'Brien, and as Susan mentioned there, I'm the Education and Public Engagement Manager with Confirm. So I just wanted to give you a very brief insight into the EP programme. So I suppose, as Susan mentioned, it's the primary vehicle by which we engage with the public, by which our researchers, engage with the public. But aside from the general public alone, we specifically try to work with underrepresented groups in STEM. So groups that the research would show would be underrepresented, so such as females, and then groups from lower socioeconomic backgrounds as well. So we take part in or run several initiatives every year that are either specifically targeted towards one of those underrepresented groups, be it females or people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, or we participate in events that are run on a national level. So just for example, we would take part in InWED, which is a female-only initiative for transgender students, which takes place in Cork and in Limerick each year. So we take part in both locations. I think Donna has been involved in this in the past in Cork, and more recently we've been running it up in UL ourselves as well. As well as that, then we do an undergraduate summer bursary scheme, which we launched in UL in 2019. So that consists of teams of undergraduate students undertaking an 8-week research bursary project in the summer. So that programme was designed with having gender equality in mind. So the teams that we had initially were one male, one female, but it also incorporated one student from a STEM background and the second student then being from a non-STEM discipline. So it's as I think it was Grania who mentioned earlier on, or it could have been Joan, sorry, that the importance of having a multidisciplinary team in STEM fields is becoming more and more important. So it's not just your mathematicians or your traditional scientists or engineers, but it's more the creative elements and areas that wouldn't traditionally be associated with STEM. So we try to do that through the bursary programme. So I won't spend too much longer talking about the programme itself, but on screen there you've just got a few snapshots of the programme so far. So it's been running for 2 years now, and we've had approximately 20,000 direct engagements with various stakeholder groups across the centre. And that's thanks to the research team, so 65% of our researchers are actively involved in developing or delivering activities on an annual basis as part of the EP programme. So that's just a very brief overview. I think we have Conor McCarthy coming up next, who's the Centre Director, who's going to talk to you a small bit about our gender strategy. So I might pass over to Conor there now. I just have to get my things in order here.
Thanks, Sean, and thanks everybody. I hope you can hear me. I know my sound might be too good, but a big thanks to everybody and to our speakers, Donna, Joan and Grania, who I've met a number of times. So very nice to see you, and really interested to hear your points of view today. I guess my background, just to put it in context, I have 3 sisters and a strong mother. I have a wife and 3 daughters. So the whole equality and diversity has been bed into me from a young age. So and I've been heavily involved in these committees all the way through my career. So and I always try to pull out some key points about trying to drive on some progress. So before I get to that, I just want to maybe talk a little bit about the Confirm Centre, and I'm just going to show you a little image here. I'm in the Confirm Centre at the moment, and you can see that production floor is full of robots, and they're neither male nor female. And the future, and has come up on the call today, the future factory will contain a lot of collaborative robots, and as we navigate the current crisis and try to improve social distancing measures and so on, we will see robotics and automation really front and center of the future factory, and I'm very aware of that, and so are our funders very aware of that particular issue, and so I think we will see a lot of robotics, and robots don't care if a man or a woman programs them, they will do the job. So I think it's very much timely that women are entering, we need to get more women entering into the whole area of robotics and industrial automation, and also the whole area of digital supply chain is a big research question for Confirm. And again, that is agnostic to any gender, but we must always have some sort of movement of products, and we can see medicines and food has been kept open over the last couple of weeks, critical supplies, and that relies on supply chains, and that I suppose has come up a small bit today on the call, but I think that's going to be very important going forward is digital supply chain. So the Confirm Centre is a centre for cyber physical manufacturing systems research and digital supply chain. And I guess we have started from a low base from a gender point of view. We had one PI and we had what we call one funded investigator, and then we had no researchers when we started, and so very much a male-dominated cohort, and that really was not intentional. That was really because what we could try and get access to at the time when we set up the centre. But so we did start from a low base, it's fair to say, but we have. And our strategy has been to widen that, and one by one we are building that. So like we are targeting female academics, and Donna was a recent addition to our PI team. Delighted to have you, Donna, and who's very active in this whole sort of gender diversity area. And one by one we've added a number of female and funded investigators, and in our research portfolio as well we are adding female PhD students and postdocs, and one by one we're getting better, and that really is all we can do is try and just be conscious of the fact that we're trying to achieve some sort of gender parity in the centre, and diversity as well, nationalities and so on is very important to us as well. But I think our strategy, we are doing things like female only calls, for example, and sort of I know the Marie Curie co-fund has a strong female dimension to it, and the type of language we use and the advertisements for recruitment and so on. But really, I think overarchingly, we are trying to build this one by one, and I'm hoping what will happen, and we can make a contribution to this, but it is more of a sort of a global issue in STEM. But one by one, I think we can build it and confirm, and I'm hoping at a certain point that there will be a tipping point where it becomes more natural that this will happen. For example, I'll give you a lot of the interview panels now we have to have female representation. So females get asked to be on interview panels an awful lot of the time. They spend an awful lot of time on these panels because they are trying to build this gender representation, and that surely has a knock-on effect on their career and the time they can spend on their own research and so on. But there will become a point where that will become sort of a gender parity, and that will no longer be an issue that we'll be able to have enough people to pick from that it won't be such a burden. So I am kind of aiming to have a tipping point, for gender parity and confirm at some point. And I don't want to put a KPI around that. I think that's not helpful, but I think if we can get to a healthy representation across our governance and our leadership, our management, I think we will doing that, and we are building all the time on that. Some of the things I really would like to take away some action items from this particular call and take on your experience. And so I suppose if I can summarize some of the key words that have come out to me today have been so to improve gender parity in STEM, let's say some of the things is the experience is really critical, knowledge of the people, and confidence has come up. The availability of female mentors has come up. This idea of the right person at the right time has come up as well. And also the issue of rejection has come up as well. And I guess I would share Donna's point. People think I'm a little bit of a freak because I love getting rejected. I love getting papers rejected, but I love getting rejected when I'm told what the problem is. I don't like rejection, blank rejection. It's very important that if you are rejected that you find out why and you can build on that. So, when I do get a journal paper rejected, I actually say to my researchers, this is a good thing. We've got 2 or 3 people saying we're doing something wrong or we could be doing something better. And we should take that on board and build from it. So I do take rejection quite well. After a number of years of getting rejected, I do turn it into a positive. And it is important to say, if someone rejects you, that they tell you why, and then you can build on that. But never take rejection blankly, I would say on that one. Going forward, then I guess the other things I've written down here is so really maybe just to say thanks. I think the COVID-19 has given us some opportunities, and that has come up on the call today. The future of work is very much an important question going forward. And again, no specific gender dimension to this particular issue, but I do think the future of work, we have a chance now to change that. We've seen over the last 3 months where we have worked probably just as efficiently as always, where we don't need to do something physical like with a robot, and we have systems now, including this call here, where we can be very efficient around that and you know, we've all been at home with our children and been able to work and balance that. I think we have an opportunity now, and there probably hasn't been a better time to get this step change in the way we do things, to address this gender issue, and to address sort of women taking time off to have babies and so on. Men can be at home now as well more often, and the future of work will very much, you know, we have. So my point is, without getting too deep into it, is that we have an opportunity now to shape what the future of work will be like, and I think we should use this carefully to look at issues like this that we've come up on the call today. So maybe just to close on that note, I think I think very much the Confirm Centre would like to be very much a colourful centre in terms of our gender and our sort of diversity, and as I say, if we can add even one new person to that list today, we've done a good job. So, and also just to say thanks to the organisers, and I think having conversations like this are very useful, just to have it out in the open and just to showcase what we're trying to do. And very much welcome to you. Maybe the next time we have this event, in that picture in front of you, you can kind of see a stairs there, but that's actually more than a stairs. That's a whole lecture theatre, and it's our community of practice area. And I'd like to invite you and all the people on the call, when we can get back to some normality, that we have our next event around this issue in our facility, and welcome you to that facility. So thank you very, very much, everybody, and best of luck for the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Conor. So as Conor just mentioned there, everyone on the webinar, they can see our that building there. So just to give you an update on where we are, so we've currently constructed a new dedicated digital manufacturing facility as our headquarters, as mentioned, in the University of Limerick's Digital District. So we have designed this beyond state-of-the-art research facility based on best practice from multiple world-leading manufacturing research centres globally, and we are very excited to get back to that. So we would welcome everyone to join us when we get back. So on the next slide, I would just like to thank today's speakers for joining us today. I know we had some technical difficulty in the beginning with some of our speakers and Wi-Fi and all of that, but these are the joys of virtual events. So I would like to thank Donna and to Grania and to Joan for being our panel today, and also to my colleagues Susan and Sean.O'Brien and our Centre Director Conor McCarthy, and also the audience for joining us today. So here's our contact details from our website. If you would like to contact us, I have my own email address there. If you have any questions or comments that you would like to send me afterwards, please make sure you head on to our website, and our LinkedIn, our Twitter and our Facebook social media contact details are there, and also our Smart 4.0 social media contact details as well. So as mentioned, we will be sending out this recording after today's webinar, and we will also be sending out a survey to ask you some feedback questions. So thank you very much for all the audience and for everyone for joining us today for the Confirm Centre Women Engineering Day 2020. Thank you very much, and goodbye now.